Let's start with just talking about our general impressions of the game. Barry, what do you think of Super Mario Brothers Wonder so far? Just in general overview.
It's definitely more of a return to form. It gave me a lot of Super Mario World vibes. Uh, Now, I did like the new series, so I know some people don't like the new series. I had no problem with the new series. I just like 2D Mario, but this this made me feel very much like a kid again. I'm playing Super Mario 3 and Super Mario World, and
Nice.
I think the wonder effects were handled really well, and I look forward to each stage, seeing what they were, and there's very few repeats. Most of them are unique.
Cool. Cool. Greg, what do you think?
I pretty much agree with, a lot of that. I wasn't really like really against like the new Super Mario Brothers series as a whole, but I definitely feel like I did was getting like the burnout that I think a lot of other people got, because it was, even though it was only 4 games and only like a, I think it was like a good 5, 6, 7 year period even between the 4 games. Um, but I don't know. It just was. I felt like it was getting kind of stale at that point by the time the new Super Mario Brothers U came around, and I definitely would agree to Barry. It's definitely more of a return to form, and I think closer to in line with like Super Mario Brothers 3 and Super Mario World, where there's a lot more of those kind of tiebacks to the like those. So like yeah. So generally,
Nice.
I think it's really definitely very much impressed me, and I've had a lot of fun with it, and just can't wait to continue playing through it.
Cool. Cool. So yeah, if you haven't been paying attention, Super Mario Brothers Wonder kind of does go back to that 2D style, but includes a lot of different aspects that have been included in some of the 3D games that they've had over the years, but also shaking it up and doing some completely new things with some power ups, but also the Wonder flowers and Wonder seeds and all these different things, different playable characters, and all that sort of thing within it. One of the biggest things that I've noticed within the game is the animation. Like there's so much animation in this game, and so really creates a brand new experience. Not like the new Super Mario Brothers series, which I think is great. I am glad they decided not to just do yet another new Super Mario Brothers game. They've really shaken it up and added some new things that I think are really cool. So, Barry, how far have you gotten in the game?
I've 100%ed it.
100%. Wow. Okay, Greg, how about you?
I am doing the 100% route, but I'm only like in World 3, so like
Okay.
I've completed the entirety of 1 and 2, and like at least the available levels around like the tide area, like in the center.
Yep.
But
Cool.
and I've also done like the special world like for the first level, World 1, and the special level for World 2. So
Nice. Yeah, I think for me, I think I'm probably around right around the same place as you, Greg. I'm in World 3, and I think for the rest of this, impressions and everything, I just want to make sure that you guys know ahead of time. We're not going to spoil anything like big. Like I don't want us to, like, Barry, don't tell us how the end of the game is. But as we talk about the game, we're probably going to have some minor spoilers about it, because we're going to talk about different powers and different things that have been added to the game and things like that. So if you do want to avoid all sort of spoilers, anything that even comes close to spoilers, you may want to skip ahead. On the video version, we'll probably put the time code later after the fact. But yeah, we'll avoid spoiling the end of the game. Although I'm guessing, hey, you beat Bowser. That's probably what's going to happen. But I didn't spoil that. That's just what happens in every Mario game. But we won't tell you exactly how
Oh,
anything happens for
so I
sure.
shouldn't talk about how Bowser actually wins and you become zombie Mario and
Oh,
oh man, I
that,
shouldn't say anything.
oh man, and that is a big spoiler. So, uh, but yeah,
doesn't kind of
let's.
create a third timeline for the Mario series. The Mario's
Uh,
defeated.
There we
yeah,
go.
the
There we
defeated
go.
timeline.
So yeah, I played one of the reasons why I'm not as far along is because I played through World 1 and most of World 2 on my own. And then I went back with my wife and we played co op. for a lot of those same levels, so that I didn't want to start like a brand new file or whatever. So I just went back and we played a good chunk of those World 1 and World 2 together, and I enjoyed it, like both the single and the multiplayer. I think it was nice to not have multiplayer like where you're jumping on top of each other and annoying each other, like it was in the new Super Mario Brothers series when the multiplayer that was kind of a pain in the butt. Did you either of you guys try multiplayer? Barry, did you try it?
Not local, but online.
Okay, cool. Greg, how about you?
I didn't get a chance to do either of them. So like me, like I had told my fiance Kelly about like all the about the game, and then she immediately bought it, and then she said she wanted to play together, but we never ended up like I created a room, but then she never ended up joining the room. So like we
She
never
ghosted
actually
you.
like joined up, unfortunately. So I
Nice.
don't have no really offer for that part of like this smaller segment, I guess.
Okay. So Barry, I did not try online yet. What do you think of online?
It was good, but I think honestly, I love playing Mario solo. I think it's just because that's just the way it was growing up. You know, it's doing that. Even when you did multiplayer, it was alternating turns. So I did like the first world and a half without even connecting. I'm like, I'm not even gonna bother connecting. And then I decided to connect. And I don't know if you did that where you played single but connected online, so you see the
Not yet.
ghosts and other people. It is a changer. It is so much fun. Like it's just the fact of seeing other people, and you can like it makes the game a little bit easier in the sense of if someone else discovers a secret, let's say they're climbing a beanstalk and you see them just climb off the screen, you go, there's something there. Like it
Uh,
kind of can help you. The standees is really cool too because if you're online, you have a heart point, and the more you help each other, the more points you get. It doesn't do anything; it's just an arbitrary, pat in the back number. But you can place the standees, and then other people can use it to revive, and you can use other people's standees to revive, which is really nice, even when playing single. And it's nice, like you get to the flagpole around the same time. It's like everyone did it, and you slap five and everything. You're all happy. But it definitely made some of the later levels, the really really challenging levels, that much more fun
hmm.
because it was like, oh, even if you're struggling, you're seeing other people struggle too, and it's something like, I'm not alone. I'm not suffering alone. Like Greg mentioned, doing the special worlds and special world in the second one in the world two. That one gave me so many problems for
Hmm.
the longest time, and I beat it, but I watched other people, and it was like, yeah, I'm doing it. Up, they died. Bye. Like, oh, there I go. Now I'll see you back at the start, and it just made it more entertaining. Like you didn't even mind the deaths as much because you had company.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, there's a couple times where like you had to go searching for hidden, items or
Mm.
whatever, and I I wonder if I was online, like I probably wouldn't have had to
So,
go searching for online to actually find
oh
like
no,
a walkthrough
those
of something.
rooms are so much more fun because
Yeah,
everyone's searching randomly and
nice.
like you can. It's kind of like everyone scatter, anyone find it, and
That's
people will
cool.
leave stands where things are. Like if
Oh,
they
cool.
find something, they'll leave a stand to be like, oh, there's a stand here. Maybe it's just a hidden platform, and they'll put a stand on it, and you see it like a floating stand, and go,
Nice.
maybe there's something there. So it kind
That
of
is
makes
cool.
it more like a community.
Yeah, that's fun because I didn't turn on online because I was afraid that it was going to be annoying to me.
Oh
Like I
no,
thought, I'm like
I
all these people running around. I'm like I'm just going to get distracted by them, and I'm afraid just going to jump down a hole. Um, but
I
but
did
it's
that
good to hear
happen to
that.
me once.
Did it? Okay.
They will rescue you then, though. You just run to them
Oh,
and
that's true.
get rescued.
Good.
Yeah, I did turn on the thing, and I don't know. I have almost like a love hate with the standy things because it's like some things I want to try to discover on my own because I still try to just
Mm.
go down every single pipe. I try to find hidden blocks that might have beanstalks, or like try to guess the pit that has the thing where you can go down instead of like traditional like going above the screen. But then like the standy things can be used to mark a lot of that stuff, and it I don't know. Like sometimes it's like a kind of takes a little bit of the fun out of it if you pretty much know where the stuff is, almost like you've played the game like 18 times and you're like, oh, I know this coin's just right over there, and like it's just so clearly marked at times, and that's I don't know. There's that's why I said it can be useful in some of the actual levels where you're not really necessarily looking for secrets at every turn, because they do provide like you a way to easily come back to life without like getting a game over or whatever, or having to restart the level from a checkpoint or at the beginning, and that part's very beneficial. But like how it could be used for marking secrets is the part I kind of dislike about it. But it's, I don't know, it's I almost would rather play with them on, because there's certainly times that it really helped.
Mm, yeah.
But yeah,
I will say,
on that
if
special
you're
world
on the
two,
fence, hold on.
I was just wrapping up with this, but on that special world 2 thing, I had to pretty much do the entire thing on my own, because like I think everybody dropped out after how hard it was. So like there were people that were
Yeah.
trying to like float up to where I was, but I like can't stop because it's like the level is supposed to make you keep going so
Yep.
fast.
Yeah, people are always like, help me, help me. I'm like, yeah, I'm not stopping. I'm dead if I stop. Like, you're on your own. Sorry. That in that level. I will say this, and I learned this. If you're in a level long, because like when you connect to a level, it's almost like you connect with other people, and you can connect with other people playing like locally. Like you'll see two characters together. But when they complete the level, once a level has 4 people, like that's it. No one else can enter this level. So when you play a level long enough and everybody either completes it or quits out, and you're by yourself, the game kind of takes pity on you and will occasionally throw in random people. They appear as colored icons. So like if it's Mario, you'll see Mario's silhouette like in blue, and it's somebody else from another game. Now they won't know they're connecting with you. You only see them, and they could raise you and they could help you, but you have to, if you die, they're gone. Like that's it. Like, and if they die, you can't help them. It's like they're like a ghost. It's almost like a weird ghost. And then
Hmm.
it seems to only occur because it only happened to me in one level. That it took me so long that that this was happening. So it's an interesting thing. So you're not like stuck lonely for a bit. They do kind of like, ooh, someone joined me. Oh, when they died, okay, I'm
Yeah.
alone again.
So that brings up one thing. There's different aspects of the game that we'll talk about in kind of over the course of the next several minutes. But one of the simple aspects I wanted to see what you guys thought about is the basically, I mean, with few exceptions, the removal of the timer. Like, do you think it's a good experience to not have that time ticking down the whole time, or do you kind of miss it? What do you think, Barry?
Oh, I love it. I love it because this almost feels like still a 2D Mario, but it has a lot of 3D elements to it in a sense, and it allows you the freedom of exploration. And when a timer is needed, they still put in timers. Like the special world we were just talking about in World 2 has a timer. In a especially with the mystic seeds, some of them will have, or the flowers to get the seeds will have timers. So when they really want a timer, it's there, and it, and it's like, oh, I gotta actually pay attention and rush, and it kind of gives that little bit of a frantic thrill. But otherwise, I like just going at your own pace. Especially some of the later levels where if you had a timer, it would add. I
Yeah.
think it would add frustration and not fun. And
Yeah.
honestly, if you're one of those people that, oh man, I really missed that timer. You know what? Most people have a phone. Set a timer on your phone for 200 seconds and hit time. And when that goes off, kill yourself and try again. Like if you really want that, there,
Yeah.
arbitrarily make it more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. Greg, what do you think?
I mean, I have to kind of agree with that method, Barry, because I know Nintendo likes to do that. Even with voice chat, you got to use your phone. So, like, if you want to set your own timers, like,
See?
you need to provide
There you
your own
go.
timer. So that's usually the Nintendo way to fix those kinds of things, you know. So, but
That's true.
Exactly.
thankfully, I don't really miss it much at all, because, like, as Barry said, there are a few levels that do have it, and like some of the Wonder Seeds like do require it and stuff. And I almost like didn't even see it like the first few like times that it like showed up, and I was like, oh wow, where did that timer come from? Like, what happens if it like goes out? I'm like, I guess I don't really want to find out. But it was always longer than really needed, anyways, because I do try to collect every single one of those purple bits that come on the screen, but sometimes they're so hard because some things just like shoot them out like
Yeah.
confetti, and then it's like, well, I can't grab every single one of them every single time it shoots out, but I do try to grab all the bigger ones, and it's still a lot of enjoyment. But at least some of the earlier levels, like if I like collect like the third star coin thing or purple coin star, then I missed like the second one or the first one, I'd be like, all right, well, I guess I'm backtracking, and then it's fun to be able to go back and try to grab it and find it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
there are a few levels where they don't let you go back all the way because you might jump through like some semi-solids or something, and then you can't get all the way back. But it, I don't know. There have been a few levels where I have been able to go all the way back to the start and try to see where I missed something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think it's been nice. It allows you to explore a little bit more. And Jakester said in the chat, next part of the Switch app is added in a game timer in there. We're just gonna add that in there. But yeah, I think it's really nice. And my wife even commented on that too when we were playing together, because I think sometimes when you do play multiplayer, like the chaos of having multiple characters on the screen does add to that. And if you also have a countdown timer the whole time, it just becomes an anxious experience. And so when you remove that timer, all of a sudden, like, we're able to just enjoy this game together. And it was a really good experience. So let's talk new power ups. So we have Elephant Mario, or Elephant power ups. I guess it's more than just Mario, but the elephant one is kind of the main one. They really push a lot at the very beginning of the game. It's the first one you get, and it's pushed quite a bit in the game. It's kind of the main one you see in the box arts and all that stuff too. But you also get the fire flower came back, the drill, the bubble, and are there any others that I'm forgetting?
Fire flower.
Fire flower. Yeah. So I think is there
Okay.
mainly just the 4?
Just those 4 and like
There's
star
4. And star. Yeah. Okay. So Barry, what do you think of the that level there, that list of power ups, and especially the new ones?
I always like a lot of power ups, but I feel in previous games when there's a lot, you usually tend to favor 1 or 2, and the rest get left on the wayside. Like in Mario 3, for example, everyone remembers, of course, the raccoon leaf and the fire flower, and maybe the frog suit. Not many remember the Hammer Brothers suit, maybe or the P-wing or the Tanuki suit, because they were less used. And the same with future games, and sometimes they're kind of detrimental. Spring Mario from Mario Galaxy 2 can just go die in a fire. So I like the fact that they kept the staple Super Mushroom and Fire Flower, like, and Starman. They're very much staples, and then just added just a few and utilized them. They weren't just power ups for power up's sake. Like, there were levels tailored around the bubble, around the drill, around the elephant, and of course badges help supplement a lot of that other stuff too, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But I think it was a good list. I mean, some people might be missing like the ice flower, but it wasn't needed in this game. Leave it as is. If I had to pick an extra power, I would bring back the Bunny Mario from Mario Land 2. Like, we haven't seen that in so long. Like, let's just do that again. Come on, you brought Raccoon Leaf back.
Yeah. Greg, what do you think of the power ups?
I didn't get a chance to unlock the drill yet. I don't know if that's by design or if I just didn't find it and if it made an appearance before where I got in the game. But there's that part of it. But yeah, it's great to see like the major returning like Fire Flower and Star and everything there. And I feel like I'm actually using the Fire Flower a little bit more because like I feel like a lot of times I get so hung up on the other ones and they don't always throw out some of the other power ups. So it's like Fire Flower tends to last a little while, like when I get it, because they actually allow pretty much a lot of the enemies to get defeated by it. So like even the ones you wouldn't normally think might not, like some of those big like puffer like spiky fish or whatever, they were like indestructible in Mario 3, and then now like give them like 3 or 4 fireballs and they're defeated. So
yeah.
I do find myself using that a lot. The elephant one is very well used, and as Barry said, it's very like all the stages that have it are pretty much have like that designed for you to try to keep it as long as possible. So it's been a lot of fun, like trying to shoot water and all the different things, and being able to break certain blocks that you normally can't, and it works pretty well. I was actually kind of surprised that like the stomp, like I think it was jumping on some of the enemies or like even like running into them that you would think that an elephant would like take them out or whatever. But I was kind of surprised that you kind of just take damage. But I don't know. It's probably makes it
swing that trunk.
Hard that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with you guys as well. I think like this is probably some of the most, I guess, used that the power ups have been before. Like, you're like, oh, I know exactly why this power up exists, and they've given it to me to enhance this level or to allow me to do different things that I need to do for these levels. And I think they're very they're varied very well. The elephant power up is completely different than the drill, which is completely different than the fire flower, and so you don't just have replicas of different power ups. They're all very, very different, which is great. Barry, you mentioned badges. So badges is a brand new thing to the Mario series, which kind of almost, I feel like, makes up for the lack of power ups, because you get to choose what badge you put on as you start a level. So some of those badges allow you to wall jump more. Some of them allow you to glide when you jump, kind of a Luigi from Super Mario Brothers 2 style. And some of them will start the level with certain things. So maybe you get a power-up mushroom at the very beginning of every level, or you get a thing like will save you from falling down a pit or falling into lava one time throughout a level, things like that. So those are extra things that you can attach that are able to be used multiple times, one time, or automatically start the level. They all have different styles, but it brings a new element to Mario. What'd you think of the badges, Barry?
I really like them. I wish there were more of them. I feel some of them are definitely more useful than others. And again, there's definitely levels where a certain badge will make it significantly easier, and others that will make it significantly harder. But I would have liked a little more. Some of them are really like I don't ever want to use, but they exist, and that's cool because it creates challenge, like the invisibility. Like I hate it because I don't, I can't see. But there's interesting thing. I know a speedrunner who's very good at Mario decided to beat the final level invisible, and not saying any spoilers, but there was actually dialogue specifically if you're using the invisible that you don't normally see. Obviously you fight Bowser. That's not really a spoiler. And Bowser will say, "You think I can't? You think your little badge is gonna fool you? I can still see you." And I'm like, that's really cool that they took the time to program in specific dialogue if you were to do the last level completely invisible.
That's cool. But wow, that's got to be so difficult.
Yes. Oh yes, very much so.
Yeah, for someone that is not even jumping on like the extra hard modes they add to Metroid, I'm not going to be invisible either. I may try one level, but it's going to be like level 1-1. That's good.
Well, see, that's one thing. Even in talking about the badges, I think we also need to mention the badge levels, because some badges you actually get just by buying them, and sometimes you get them through doing badge challenge levels. And I honestly love these. I think these are brilliant because one, you don't lose a life if you die. You can do it as many times as you want. And two, it's a tailor-made obstacle course um, for that badge to teach you how to use that badge. And I think that's brilliant. There's no penalty trial. It lets you actually experiment with every single badge. There's a reward for doing so, and makes you a little more confident. So
Yeah.
I give Nintendo mad props for that.
Yeah, those are really fun. Greg, what do you think of the badges?
They've been super incredible. I really like a lot of the references and throwbacks to like the other stuff. So like there's like the cap hat, like the cap badge that allows you to be like Princess Peach all the time and just can like kind of hover in midair for a little while. And there's even like the Super Mario Brothers 2 jump where you can like crouch and then you do a super tall jump. And you can like the play as Luigi mode and like he does even like jump a little bit higher and also does like a little fancy kick and give you little slippery controls. And so all that stuff is just great how they're able to work all that stuff in and reference it and everything. So I've been really enjoying unlocking them too. Like you guys were just saying, like even the stages that are crafted towards them have been really incredible. Like I've made sure to try to find all the coins, and like that first dolphin kick one really took me off by surprise because it was like you have to like really try to speed run the entire level just to get all three of the coins, and that was kind of tricky to do. Like and
Yes,
that's
you
one
do.
of the first badges that you get. So like,
Yeah.
was
Yep.
definitely not expecting that heightened attempt to
Yeah,
just try to get
that,
anything. Like I even
that
told my
third
fiance,
coin.
it's like It's like, oh, it took me like 7 times to beat this. You're like, well, I beat it my first try. I'm like, did you get all 3 of the coins? Because that's what I was trying to do for 7 times. Of
Yeah,
course, I could beat it because you can't really. It's pretty hard to die, but
I was so confused the first time you go through because I was like, I thought I did what I was supposed to do. How do I get those other? Oh, it's a time thing.
See, and that's
Yeah.
where they're giving you an arbitrary
Yep.
timer.
Yep. Yep. It's pretty cool. And yeah, there every one of those is man, it hooks me in every time. I'll try it multiple times, even after I beat it good enough to get the third. I'm like, I can do this faster. I can do this faster.
Yeah.
And I'll spend, a couple more tries to try to get as fast as possible. And those are really fun too. I think that's the a cool aspect of the game is like are those speed run kind of things compared to your friends list as well? Can I see how fast you did it?
Oh, I don't know about that.
If they did, I hope
I
they
don't
did.
think so.
If they did, like they did on Super Mario Odyssey and stuff, like to be able to compare against your friend list and stuff, that would be really cool because that's
I don't think
replay
so.
value.
Yeah, that would be smart.
that'd be
What
that's free replay value. But I didn't see it, but maybe there is something there. But
they also just talk about replay value. They at the end of every time you beat a level, they take like a random snapshot.
Yeah.
And I wish that they gave you an album. All you could see is the last snapshot. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
how would that's not like? Why would you do this and not give us an album?
Yeah.
Like, come on, you were
Yeah.
you were you were telling me all I can see is the last shot
Yeah.
taken. That's so silly.
Right.
You show me
Yeah.
every level. You're showing me a snapshot. Put it in a photo album.
Right.
That's not a foreign concept.
Yeah, I was wondering because I was like, oh, I want to share that, but I don't know how unless I just tap to take a screenshot at that moment. But yeah, so let's talk about the big part of the game. Like, there's lots of big part of the games, but the Wonder Flowers and how they completely changed the game up. I will say from the very beginning, the second world one where they start singing was like, what the crap is happening right now? This is ridiculous. You get a bunch of piranha plants going into song and dancing around. And I was like, this is just seriously a mushroom trip. So, like, literally, was it a flower trip on this? So, yeah, what would you guys think of the different ways the game changes up and all that they've been doing with the Wonder Flowers?
I love the effects, honestly, and I've noticed like my wife has watched me play, and even my son has been watching. I don't know what he comprehends, but my wife was like, "These are really good." Like charm, like the singing, she was like, "That's so adorable." And like I could see in her head, like she's already picturing playing it with him as he gets older. And I'm like, "Yeah, it's good." I like that it kind of keeps you on your toes, and a lot of them are themed around the level. If it's a level that has a lot of balloon enemies, suddenly like there's bigger balloon enemies, and they're bouncing you all over the place, and you got to, you know, it keeps to the theme. And sometimes like inanimate objects come to life, and living objects turn to like stone. It's like, wait, what's going on? Everything's flipping around, or the camera turns perspectives,
Mm-hmm.
which is really trippy at first because like, whoa, hold on. Uh, I I think that they do a really good job, and one of the I think one of the ones I noticed that was, besides the singing, because that was definitely like, this is Rayman. This is now Rayman. That's what we've gone
Right.
into.
Yeah.
But there was one level where like there's a herd of like buffalo, and I think it's early on, and they like,
Mm-hmm.
take out the goalpost, and I'm like, oh,
What do I do
oh,
now?
we're really freaking going here. All right, this is certainly something new. I love that. I love that it subverts your expectations, because it's like I was just talking earlier about detective games. I don't want to find out and guess it right away the first time. I want to be surprised. I
Mm.
want to be challenged. I want to, not know what to expect. And there are a few repeats, but they're few and far between. And even when they're repeated, it's not like that big of a deal. It's been a long time, and it's a new world, and it feels fresh again. So I love them. I
Yeah.
think they're great.
Cool. Greg, what do you think?
yeah, they're definitely absolutely fantastic. Some of them are even like really well hidden. Like, every stage is going to have one, and then sometimes like they're a lot easier to find, and other levels like you have to like touch like some of the smaller flowers all in the correct sequence and all that stuff, and then for it to finally spawn. So it's definitely very cool when like that you come across some of them, because I even kind of referencing back to the ghost mode, like I just saw like someone just like it suddenly turned into a vertical level because I just saw like their thing like way up off screen. I'm like, oh, I guess there's a wonder flower on the screen because they just went way up there. So it's like
Yeah.
I was like in like the World 3 level that I was in. So I was like, all right, so then just a little investigation and like boom, there's the flower. And like it's definitely a nice way to kind of change it up, and it just makes the level completely different. And like suddenly now we're in a vertical section, and so it's yeah,
Yeah.
it's very cool the way they implemented a lot of those in the different stages and
Cool.
making everything like unique and different.
Yeah. So we praised the game quite a bit so far, but I want to know, just give us a chance to, is there anything that's kind of stood out to you so far in your playtime that you're like, I wasn't a big fan of this aspect? Barry, anything?
You know, I always feel this way about games where you kind of go through a honeymoon phase, when you get a game brand new and you're like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever, absolutely the best of a series. And then after you beat it or after you've had some time to digest it, you kind of like, there, this wasn't, it was great, but it wasn't as high as I initially thought. And I feel this way about this game too. Like initially, I was like, "This is like the best 2D Mario game," and I think now that I've beat it, I've taken a look back. I feel it's kind of short.
Hmm.
Like, and I don't know, maybe it's I'm misremembering, but I feel like Super Mario World is a longer game,
Hmm.
and maybe it's just because Mario World had a lot of hidden exits, and this game does have some hidden exits per level, but I feel like there was a lot more in Mario World. Um, and then it had the Star Road, and then it had like the actual special. Like I feel like they've done bigger games in the past, and a lot of the levels in this are short. They're just the little trials, or some of them are just like break time, and it's just like you're in a bouncy room and there's 5 flowers to get, and boom, you win. I'm like, oh, that was great. That was a break, but that's almost padding.
Hmm.
Not saying it's a bad thing. I enjoyed those levels too, but I just feel like I wanted more.
Hmm.
Like it left me wanting more. And I'm not saying like the challenge was there, and you could obviously artificially increase the challenge. And I'm not even asking for a lot of challenge. I just want more. The game left me wanting more levels, more to explore. Usually you get 8 worlds, and here you get 7 worlds, and I'm like,
Hmm.
wait, you could have had an 8th world, and then, yeah, special, eight worlds and a special. Or look at Mario 2, right? You had 9 levels plus an A, B, C, D. you know, uh, give it go crazy. Even a Mario 3D World, right?
Hmm.
You had the initial 7 or 8 worlds, and then you went up to another world, then you went up to yet another world, and then once more. Like it just kept going. Like I was expecting that, and I was like, oh, there's no way this is really the final battle. Oh, I beat it at the end. Oh wait, there's got to be like a question mark.
Right.
No, um,
Hmm.
but I mean, I guess that's kind of a spoilery. But when you go to Bowser, you go to Bowser. There,
Hmm.
so I think that's it. I think my one negative is I want more, and if I want more of something that tells you it's a good thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
eh,
That makes sense. Greg, what do you think?
I mean, I've really enjoyed what I've played so far, and I mean, pretty much the only thing that I had the major problem with was just like that little standee thing. I was kind of could be spoilish at times, but that's more of like a smaller nitpick, and that's certainly not going to like mean that this game is not worth getting at all or anything like that. It just that's and you can't really control what other people do like with those things anyways. But and you can
Hmm.
actually turn them all off, but sometimes they provide guidance on levels where you may need them. So I mean, overall, I think the game has been great, and I don't know if like the number of world things was slightly like lower, but it seemed like a lot of the worlds were like really big. Like I was like, geez, like I must be getting first like close to this first castle by now, and it's like, oh no, it's another scrolling area with another 3 or 4 levels on it. Like, okay, what about now? Nope. Here's one that now there's like a branch path that goes up, and then there's one that goes to the right, and then it's like, oh well, there's the castle there, but then like, well, I want to finish the rest of the levels in the world before I like take the castle on because I thought I was like just finding more paths. And then, but it was like, okay, well, there's the castle, and now I need to go back to this area to go up to see what was up this way. And that's like how I found like the special world and stuff. So it's
Hmm.
like it's certainly felt like the worlds themselves were a lot longer than normal. Where like Mario 3, it was just like 6, 7 levels per world. Then like you
Hmm.
moved on to the next thing, and there's like 10, even though like maybe 3 or 4 of them are break levels or badge levels. And but I don't know, it still seems like there's a lot more content there too. But and even with
It-
the Wonder Flowers being in every level, they're also kind of longer levels too. It's not just a straight up like 300 seconds and you
Hmm.
can beat it in like 100.
the levels also, not the levels, the worlds are also uneven. Like
Hmm.
some worlds will have like 36 Wonder Seeds or 38 Wonder Seeds, and others will have 21. And you're like, or 20, and be like, whoa, like this one world is like double the length of this other world, and it's like that feels like was something cut. Like why? Like there was one world that I was playing and I was like, all right, cool. I'm just getting to the new part. Wait, what do you mean I beat it already? Like that was the end? That was the final level. Like I
Hmm.
thought we were going to a whole nother area and we're not. Like that's it, we're done. I'm like, okay, that was
Hmm.
really short. Like so I think they could have even if they wanted to keep the same amount, pad out the levels more.
Hmm.
um, the game is built to be obviously non-linear, which I love. Like you only need 14 seeds to beat the world, but you could get up to 36. Great. That gives you tons of replay and tons of options. But when there's only like 20 in a world, it's like, wait, what the heck is
Yeah.
going on? So I wish there was a little more balance in that regards.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me, it also has to do with the worlds and the map feature. It's so different than previous 2D games that it kind of left me confused. Like, where am I going now? I thought I was already in World 2, but apparently I was in the hub world, and then I have to unlock World 2 by doing other things. And so that was a little confusing at the beginning. And like, okay, what am I supposed to do next? Because there's not just a very clear linear path. There is a linear path, but there's so many variations that you can do within it, and you can skip so many things, but not everything. And yeah, so all that, I feel like you're capable of flying through the game pretty quick because, like you said, you only need 14 to unlock the castle. But if you want to spend a lot more time in the game and do 100%, you can do that and get quite a bit more game because there are so many seeds. But yeah, it's a very small nitpick. I mean, we're we're at tiny things that we're picking out that we don't really like about this game. Overall, it's been a really good experience. Before we wrap up and move into the headlines, any last minute things that are on your mind that you'd like to talk about before we move on? Barry, anything?
My only thing is you were talked a little bit about like the online features and all that. The only negative to that is that requires other people playing, and I feel like right now it's prime. You're going to get players every time you connect. You're going to get a lot of you know people helping out. You get a lot of experimentation with discovering things. I noticed that the you get medals. There's 6 medals to earn, and if you have medals, it actually shows up next to your name, so you can
Mm.
see not only people's heart points, but if they've already beaten the game and if they've done other things. And I've seen a lot of people with medals going back and just like helping others, which is really cool. But I feel like all of that is going to die. I'm not saying by tomorrow, but eventually when people move on to the next big thing, less people are playing it. It's going to be a lot harder to find people playing, and you're going to be playing this game virtually solo. So if that sounds interesting to you and you want that community aspect, I hate to say it, but it's one of those where the sooner you play it, the better, because you're going to have a better experience. Otherwise, it's just like playing solo.
Yeah, Greg, any last minute thoughts?
I didn't quite realize all of that, but yeah, that does make a lot of sense. What Barry was just saying with all the to play it sooner than later, but I'm sure like at least this holiday season will be spiked up too. So I
Oh yeah.
think that time away is thankfully probably not until next year, closer to some of the other big Mario game releases like the Peach game and everything. But um, the one thing that did kind of cross my mind is what you were just saying at right your last comment with like going into World Two. It's like, well, I thought I was already in two, and then but then they did show the path where you go into World 3. So then I was like, well, maybe that's a secret exit. So then I was like replaying that level a few more times, trying to see if I could find it. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess maybe I'll just have to be something I come back to, and then here I beat World 2, and I'm like, oh, I was supposed to beat World 2 to unlock, like, to go into World 3. Like, it's just right next to it, so it's, I don't know, it's still kind of a smaller nitpick, but yeah, it's kind of think that there's something there, then there might not actually will be, but it just,
Oh,
yeah.
that actually reminds me of another little nitpick that to alleviate what Greg just said. If on the world map, because I didn't realize this, I was like, oh, I don't care about the purple coins or the 10 coins, whatever, like no big deal. It's not tracking that, because all it tracks is the wonder seeds on when you look at a world. But if you push L and you bring up the course list, it tracks if you touch the top of the flagpole, if you've gotten all the 3 coins, and if you've gotten all the wonder seeds, because you need that for all 6 medals. You need to 100% every level. You don't need to beat the stage with every single character like some other games, thankfully. But I didn't realize when I first was playing it that even tracked, because if you don't push L, you don't see that. And it also will show you a check mark in that screen on a level that you've 100% completed. So you know, oh, there's nothing else to do in that level. I have completed it. It will also show you a check mark for the world if you've completed the world 100%. And it will show you, I think it's a green, like the amount of the seeds will turn green when you've completed that world's seeds, and you'll get 100 purple coins as a bonus. So you'll know. But yeah, that if you don't push L and just choose a level to warp to and look at that, you may not realize that's stuff that is counted and needed for 100% of the game. So you may be like, oh, I wonder if there's a secret exit, because I did the same thing Greg did. I saw that island to the east, and I was like, there's something there. How do I get there? Maybe it's another exit. But had I looked through and I saw a check mark, I would have been like, oh, okay, well, I know there's nothing.
Yeah.
So that I wish it was on the actual world map, but no, it's
Yeah.
only in that other menu.
I could definitely see why they would put that behind there, because for the casual player, they're like, hey, I beat everything. I don't need to be reminded that I forgot stuff, but you can easily access that behind a menu if you want to see it. So I could see the pros and cons of if it's there for everybody or not. But I'm glad they at least put that in there. I didn't know it. I'm learning it right now. So yeah.
You have to look and see how many things you missed in previous levels.
Yeah.
I mean, I usually didn't try to like leave to the next world until I had everything. I mean, I figured they had to track it somewhere, and then I did find it when I was in World 2, and then I went back to make sure everything was all, at least I had all the purple coins. I think there's like a level or two where I have all the seeds and all the purple coins, but it's not giving me the green check mark. So
that means there's something else there.
You didn't reach the top of the flagpole. Things like that are like, oh my gosh, I gotta go back and do that.
I've been doing the flagpoles, like, as I get them. They've tracked that in like Super Mario 3D World, so it's I knew that's been part of the requirement, but like I looked at the menu and I was like, I have the top of the flagpole, I have 3 coins, I have both wonder seeds. Why is it not checked? And
yeah,
I guess
because there's still something else.
Yeah.
Nice.
Apparently.
Nice. So yeah, I think I definitely enjoy this game. You know, Mario does sound slightly different in this game. I don't know if you guys noticed his voice, but it's ever so slightly different. It's got a little more of a gravel to it, but it's so similar that I'm like, I forgot about it until I thought about it. I was like,
I played
yeah.
mainly as Luigi, and I didn't notice a difference really.
Yeah.
Like it sounded so close.
Yeah, I've only played as Luigi. I've barely even heard Mario say anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't even think I really even noticed stuff from like the trailer that his voice was really that much different than Charles Martinet.
It's
very, very
so slightly different.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like it is very noticeable, but like the new guy definitely made it like very enjoyable and very good, because he still sounds a lot like Mario.
Yeah, they didn't take it in a different direction for sure. They basically said, hey, recreate what he's done already. So well, if it's not been obvious, I think we are all very, have very high impressions of this game. And if we were to review it, I think all of us would say, yes, go play it. It's a great game. And like we said, if you want those online aspects to be able to play with others, play quick before you miss your chance. If you're playing a year or so down the line, you probably won't have near as much fun online, because there won't be as many people playing it by that point.